All right. Good morning, Unity Halton Peel. We are gathered together and joyous on this wonderful, albeit cold, but very sunshiny day. And our guest, Reverend Dr. Jane Simmons, tells me that in her corner of the galaxy, it's cold and well, it's not too cold, but it's cloudy and raining. So we are appreciating the sun that we have here. So my name is Wendy Carr. I'm a licensed Unity teacher, and it is my privilege to be your host today for our gathering on this 23rd of March, 2025. Where has the year gone? I'm not sure. But as always, let's just take a moment and breathe into this moment and just allow the week that was to be in the past. Whatever we need to bring with us into the future will wait for us, and just know that whatever in the future is waiting for us, and we could just choose to be in this moment. And with that, let us just take into our minds and our hearts and our sense of imagination, our affirmation for 2025. We at Unity Halton Peel are blessed with an abundantly thriving community. And we're not limiting it just to this community that we come together as on Sunday mornings, but that each of us individually are also abundantly thriving, and that we can bring that overflow of our personal lives into our group experience. And let's just affirm that it is done, and so it is. Our mission is to lovingly inspire transformation and be of service to the world. And sometimes we're not sure what that looks like. I'm not sure always what that looks like. But I'd like to submit to you that it doesn't have to be something large, that it can be something as simple as smiling as another person as you pass them in the grocery store, or just taking a moment to hold in light and love this world and all of the conditions that we seem to be experiencing, and giving thanks for what is in our lives already. Our inspiration for the month of March is I am guided. And our affirmation is, I am in tune with Spirit's guidance. And if you're watching on social media later, what we mean by spirit, we use a number of words for the divine that we understand. Some folks will use the word God. Some folks are uncomfortable with the word God. So you will hear us use God, Spirit, divine mind. Some folks will use goddess or mother, father, God. We'll see very different words just because that divineness is so difficult to express in English language. And so this is one of the words that Unity folks use for God, as we understand him, her, it to be. And I think actually Evelyn's doing the daily word today, right?
Right.
The mic is yours there.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. The word for today is joy. Joy fills my heart and warms my soul. Today I will view the world through eyes of joy. This mindful practice will make even the most ordinary things seem special, and things I may have taken for granted seem fresh and new. Even the energy I bring to my relationships will be imbued with harmony and peace. I will feel lighter, kinder, and more connected to the people in my life when I commit to living with joyful intention. Moments of frustration, disagreements with others, and disappointments may disturb my equilibrium for a time, but will not rob me of my joy. I honor God each time I share my joy. As I bless myself by feeling joyful, I bring more love, more peace, and more happiness to the world. And from Psalm 118, verse 24, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Thank you, Evelyn. All right. So for those of you who have been around a while, you will remember when Valerie Williams was a part of our congregation, and you may even remember when her album came out that this song is taken from. So let us enjoy that. And if you haven't met Valerie Williams before, here's one of my favorites of hers.
If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. If you can believe it, you can become it. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. into joyous song and sing praises. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Break into joyous song and sing praises. Thank you for all I have. Thank you for all I have. Thank you for all I give. All that I will receive. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Break into joyous song and sing praises. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Break into joyous song and sing praises. Praises, praises. Make a joyful noise. Praises, praises. Make a joyful noise. These things have I spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, that your joy may be made full, that your joy may be made full. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Break into joyous song and sing praises. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Break into joyous song and sing praises. Praises, praises. Make a joyful noise. 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 Thank you for all I have. Thank you for all I have. Thank you for all I give. All that I will receive. Praises, praises. Make a joyful noise. Praises, praises. Make a joyful, make a joyful, make a joyful noise.
Ah, wonderful song. And now let's just take a moment, after all that enjoyment of song and energy, to just appreciate and bless Unity Kitchener and the Canadian Licensed Unity Teachers. And we here at Unity Halton Peel have been so blessed. Uh, Not only do we have myself and Debbie Long as your LUTs here, but we have been blessed by other Canadian LUTs coming and speaking to us and sharing their gifts. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to truly connect this country of ours. And in connecting our country, we can connect the world. Our affirmations for the month of March from Unity Headquarters. For inner peace, I claim divine peace in this now moment. For wisdom, I claim divine wisdom to know the way forward. For health, I claim divine strength, health, and vitality in every moment. For strength, I claim the courage of divine strength. For world harmony, I claim divine love to spread harmony throughout the world. And let's just take a moment and breathe in these affirmations, knowing that we are part of the light that is in this world, and that it is our blessing to be a blessing to the world. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today, Reverend Dr. Jane Simmons. Full disclosure, Reverend Jane and I go way back, farther than either of us are willing to admit, and it is my joy and pleasure to introduce you. Welcome, Reverend Jane.
Thank you so much. It's always a joy to be with you all and to share this sacred time together. And I really feel like it's a sacred time when I'm with you all. So thank you for joining me today. And I'm having something going on with my throat all of a sudden. Just give me a. All right, we'll get going on this now. So good morning to you all. And as we're moving into the spring season, even if it doesn't feel like spring actually today, but this time of year, we're beginning to celebrate the return of the spring. And I'm always so inspired to see the new growth that comes forth, shoots forth from the earth, despite the long, cold winter where that life has appeared to be dormant. It looks like nothing's been happening, but the truth is, underneath the surface, though it may not be obvious, all kinds of things have been happening. There's all kinds of things percolating. There's all kinds of things preparing to break through with an unstoppable energy. And that's going on even when it's not apparent to us. My talk title is Inspired and Unstoppable. And here's the thing, we all have access to that life-affirming energy ready to burst forth and to create the life that we want to live. So my question to you all this morning is, are you ready to do that? And you can nod your head if that is yes. So I once read a story written by a woman who would go through a toll booth in the San Francisco area twice a day, every day, there and back, there and back. And one day as she drove toward the booths, she was surprised to hear loud music coming from one of them. And so she drove up to the window, and inside she saw a man who was kind of dancing around to the music. And she said, "Wow, you look like you're having fun in there." And he said, "I'm having a party. I'm having a party." And then she looked around at all the other toll booths. She said, "Well, that's different because I don't see anybody else having a party here." And the man answered, "Well, I have a choice. At 8:30 every single morning, I can get into this toll booth, I can put my brain on hold, and then at 4:30 reemerge and go home, or I can have a party every single day." And then he added, "I'm going to be a dancer someday. I'm going to be a dancer someday." And he pointed to the administration building and he said, "My boss is in there. They're paying for my dance lessons right now." And as he handed her the change, he said, "I don't understand why anybody would think that my job is boring. I have a corner office. I have windows all the way around on all sides. I can see the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco and the Berkeley Hills. They're right there. Half the Western world vacations here. And I just stroll in every day and practice dancing because I'm going to be a dancer someday." Now, this man was a visionary. He could see beyond his current view. And even though he hadn't fulfilled the dream as of yet, he was using the current situation in the best way to prepare for his dream to come to fruition. My bosses are paying for my dance lessons. And so this man was really inspired by a vision, and the power of that level of inspiration, it's something to be reckoned with. When you have that level of inspiration pulling you forward, he's going places. This guy's going places. I think inspired and unstoppable would be a good way to describe our toll booth dancer. So this talk title is actually taken from a book of that name by Tama Keeves, who's one of my favorite authors. Her first book was called This Time I Dance, and it chronicles her experience of learning to live her dream. This Time I Dance. It's a great book, very inspiring. And Inspired and Unstoppable, she wrote in order to help others, to coach others in following their dreams. So both books are very inspiring. Tama Keeves was a Harvard-trained, high-powered lawyer. She was in line to become partner. She was very successful, very affluent, but all the time she was doing the work of being a lawyer, her heart was crying out to be a writer, crying out. And so after much agonizing, soul searching, she made the plunge. She traded in her power suits for sweatpants, as she puts it. And she left the world of law behind and started to write her book. And she did it against the advice of her parents, her coworkers, her friends. In fact, she would run into people that she formerly worked with from time to time at the coffee shop that she would often write, and they would see her sitting there writing at the table, and they would question her sanity. How could you do this? How could you leave behind what you had for this? And it took a lot of courage for her in the midst of all those naysayers to step out, because those naysayers were threatening to drown out the inner voice that was leading her forward. And it was nudging her heart. But she committed to following that voice's guidance no matter what. And she was deeply committed to following that voice. And she calls that voice the inspired self. The inspired self, what we might call the higher self, or our inner wisdom, our voice of spirit, or what Tama also calls, and Wendy, here's a new one for you, her yabba dabba doo divine intelligence. So you can add that to your list of some of our wording. And she consults the divine regularly. She's now highly successful in her writing. She's authored several best-selling books. She's on her way. Now, of course, I'm not telling us that we should all go out tomorrow and quit our jobs or stop whatever we do with our time so we can hang out writing in coffee shops in our sweatpants. Although I do that very regularly. In fact, here are two of the baristas at Kettle Falls Coffee Shop, where I write 2 or 3 times a week. In fact, I wrote most of this talk there, and I asked them, can I take your picture and show it on this slide? And they were kind of like, well, what are you doing? So I said, don't worry, it's for a good cause. So they agreed to it. So you can do that. If that's what your soul is calling you, by all means, do it. But no matter where we find ourselves right now, we can always uncover the blessing that's hidden within the situation that we're in, and we can choose to bloom where we're planted. Bloom where we're planted, and at the same time, take the steps to get us where we want to be going. So bloom where you're planted while you're taking steps to get you where you want to go. And we can begin right now, this moment, to look at our world through a higher vision, a more positive lens that asks the question, how can I use what's happening right now in my life to help me grow into a greater expression of who I've come here to be? And if you look at all the stuff that's happening below the border, you can see I've been asking myself that question every morning. How can I use what's happening right now to help me grow into a greater expression of the truth of who I am that can help me share my gifts with the world and help to change what's going on? You see, it's a really powerful question. And it goes beyond, how can I get my bosses to pay for my dance lessons? It's a great question too. Because here's the thing, we all have genius within us, all of us. The same genius that was within Picasso and Shakespeare and Einstein and Mozart. We have that same genius, every single one of us. And the world needs us to discover what our particular brand of genius is and to share it with the world. So what is genius? It's simply accessing divine mind. It's accessing the yabba dabba doo divine intelligence and connecting with that deeper source within us. And of course, it doesn't have to be in the areas of music or science or art or literature. It can be, but it can also be in the way that we love our children, or take care of our garden, or make a pot of soup, or organize a closet, or hammer a nail, or, as my husband does, build yourself a few different airplanes. He finished number 4 last year. So you have an inspired self ready and waiting to guide you in your spiritual evolution right now, ready. And one of my favorite Rumi questions is, hey, you were born with wings. Why crawl? Why do you prefer to crawl? We are meant to fly. And discovering our genius and letting it express is all about unearthing the inner splendor that lives within us and letting it fly free and unleashed. So what's waiting to be unleashed on the world that is within you right now? What is within you waiting to be unleashed? What is your inspired self telling you? Trust that voice. If something is calling you, if your heart is longing to do something, if there's an activity that you feel the most alive when you're engaged in it, pay attention to that. Pay attention to it. I've heard that we don't choose our dreams, choose us. And we're never given a dream without the means to make it happen. So what is your dream? We want to pay attention to those dreams and to the things in life that bring us joy. You know, DeWitt Jones is a celebrated photographer who has worked for decades for National Geographic magazine. And he thinks of his work as celebrating what is right in the world. That's how he describes it. And it shows in the beautiful imagery that he captures. And because he looks through the lens of what is right in the world, guess what? He finds it. He finds it. He finds what's right in the world, and he shows the rest of us what it is. Now, a defining moment came for him in shifting him to this way of thinking and living his life when he was driving his daughter to a gymnastics competition. And she was not at all enthusiastic about competing. And she said, "Can't I just do gymnastics because I love it?" And he had thought about that and he realized, yes, you could. You could do that. You could do what you love for the sheer joy of it and not have all the fun and the life drained out of it by putting all this extra pressure on yourself. And it was an aha moment for him. Because the truth is, when we do what we love just for the sheer joy of it, we are serving the world in a big way. So think about what you love to do, what brings you joy, what makes your heart sing, and find a way to do it. Dance in your toll booth. Now, there are two facets to being inspired and unstoppable. There's the being inspired part, and there's the being unstoppable part. And combination comes from a marriage between the inner and the outer, between idea and expression, between stillness and action. You see, it's about being and doing. We need them both. I mean, it's one thing to aspire to be a dancer, to imagine it, to visualize it, feel your inner dancer coming forth. It's quite another to dance your way through 8 hours in a toll booth every single day. So it's important to get still, to listen to your inspired self. And again, Rumi says it best. Call upon it. Call upon your inspired self. It won't steer you wrong. Feel it come forth. Let it nudge you in the right direction. And when you get the guidance, follow it. And as you do, keep in mind that sometimes there can be twists and turns in the process. You see, if you read Tamakive's story from her first book, you join her on her journey she took. And believe me, it wasn't all roses. She had lots to overcome on the path. She wasn't just suddenly leading a charmed life. Her faith was continually tested. She was filled with doubts and confusion. But the overcoming is part of our development into who we have come here to be because we grow through those obstacles, you see. And she kept following her inspired self, her yabba dabba doo divine intelligence through all those twists and turns. She just kept following it until a way opened up. You know, there's a wonderful story from the Sufi tradition, and it's about a river that passed through the countryside, carving its own way, very powerful current, very strong, very forceful energy, until one day this mighty river met a desert, a vast desert. There was no way it could pass. Now what? And it heard the voice of the wind saying, "Just let go, and I will get you across." And so the stream surrendered to the wind. And the water was drawn up, evaporated, taken high up in the sky, blown across the desert, rained down into another stream. I love this story because we also have those desert experiences, don't we? We have our very powerful masculine energy that moves us into taking action. But when we come to a desert experience, how do we overcome that? By surrendering to the wind, to spirit, to the divine source, to the feminine energy, letting it lift us and carry us. It's gentle, it's kind, it's caring, but make no mistake, it is mighty, mighty power. And when we're stuck in those desert moments, times when it seems there's no movement forward, we are called to continue on our journey steadily with conviction, committed to following this spirit-led vision, taking steps that lead to our ultimate success. Because transformation takes some work, right? It takes commitment, it takes discipline to keep on showing up, to keep following the path, keep following that voice, taking action. Neural pathways in the brain don't just automatically change without a shift in our action. So there are accountabilities for us on the spiritual path. I can't ask somebody else to meditate for me. Can you meditate for me today? Or to deepen my connection to the divine. Would you please do that for me? No. Or to take the steps I need to do to grow into who I've come here to be. That's my part. That's my part. But when we're on fire with what we're doing, commitment comes naturally. Work feels like play. We do it for the love of it, the sheer love of it. So we need that masculine energy to take action, but it must also be combined with the feminine soul energy, this divine marriage, and then we see results. So surrendering to the heart-centered soul energy allows it to lift us, to inspire us, to guide us, and then we use the masculine energy to take action, you see, based on the guidance that we're receiving. One of the quotes from her book that really spoke to me was, 1,000 actions are less effective than one true connection. You see, forcing things without the heart connection, we just spin our wheels. We just spin our wheels. So what is your inspired self guiding you to be and to do? We have to get still and ask. We have to spend time in the silence listening. And it's so easy to get distracted, isn't it? To lose our focus, to just follow the internal, default operating system that's just leading us through conditioned life. But Tama asked this question: why do we limit the dynamic, multidimensional intelligence within us? Why indeed? What a great question that is. Because if our current conditioned behavior has actually created what we don't want, why would we continue to constrain the infinite? Why settle for crumbs why just go for table scraps? We can experience the whole banquet, right? So the best way to avoid having a conditioned, limited existence, get anchored in the divine source. Get anchored in infinite love. Let it lift and steer us. And it may be a loving, gentle voice within our hearts, but make no mistake, divine love is powerful, it's motivating, it's fierce, it's uplifting, it's inspiring, and it will lead us to tapping into our inner genius. But that won't happen if we're steeped in self-judgment or shame or guilt. Then the way in there will elude us. The door will stay firmly shut. But here's the good news. It opens from the inside. That's the good news for us. I love Swami Beyondananda's wisdom, where he says, there's no key to the universe. It's been left unlocked. It's been left unlocked. But the door only opens when we get into the right space. We have to have the right environment, an environment of compassion and safety and acceptance. That internal environment has to be there. And our inspired self can lead us to that door, but we can't force our way in. We have to be in this environment. We can't coerce inspiration. Because here's the thing, life itself is reflecting back to us what is within us, what we're putting out there. It keeps on showing us what's going on. It shows us what our true motivation is behind our actions. Are we coming from fear or love? Very important distinction. And if the voice we're hearing is telling us that we can't, or that we don't have what it takes to be successful, if it starts running reels of movie clips showing how often we've messed up in the past, we can safely say that is not the inspired self talking. That's not the voice of love, it's the voice of fear. And the truth is, we have created all of the stories that we have bought into so far in our lives. And if we're finding ourselves living a myth of an uninspired life, stuck in a rut of limiting behaviors and beliefs, guess what? Our inspired self can lift us out of that morass into the field of infinite potential, and then we can be the change that we're seeking in the world. We have to surrender to it and allow it to do so. And boy, is this world hungry for our gifts right now. The world is crying out for every single one of us to be sharing our gift of genius. So what amazing gift do you have to offer? I mean, sometimes we think it has to be huge. Well, I have to save the entire planet right now. No, we just need to be more fully who we really are, listen, find out what's calling us, show up in that capacity and bloom where we're planted, but do it with an open, willing, inspired heart. And to paraphrase Martin Luther King, if we're called to be a street sweeper, we should do it even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. We should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven will pause and say this: here lived a great street sweeper who did their job well. So let's stop ignoring our spirit. Let's take the time to become inspired, to be who we've come here to be, being who we truly are, no matter what we are doing, blooming where we're planted as we view life through the lens of our spiritual vision. Every single one of us has a mighty power within us that is beyond what we are seeing as small r reality. And that power will lead us. It will awaken our creativity and our resourcefulness. It will energize us to move beyond any limiting beliefs that have been blocking us from moving forward. It will lovingly eclipse those disempowering thoughts that we may have been thinking about ourselves and our lives, creating a new story for us, a new transformative, inspired story as we live a new loving narrative. We can do this. We are limited not by our abilities, but our beliefs about them, by our limited vision about ourselves. So connect with your inspired self, take time in silence, invite it to speak, and open yourself up to this greater idea of your life and the greater possibilities that are available to you right now. And whether you're a budding toll booth dancer, a Michelangelo of street sweeping, whether you want to do gymnastics just for the fun of it, or like Tama Keeves, you know in your heart that you have a writer's soul, if there is a seed ready to blossom within you, whatever it may be, the truth is that your powerful, dynamic, multidimensional intelligence is bursting to come forth, yabba dabba doo to you. So are you ready to be inspired and unstoppable? The correct response is yes. So let's take a moment to go to a meditative space to call on that beautiful healing presence that lives within every single one of us, never leaves us, always, eternally closer than our very breath. And so we begin to focus on our breath. And with each inhalation, we relax a little bit more into our seats. And with each exhalation, we open our heart to the love within us. So feel the gratitude of that truth. And we release all of the activity of the day, anything that's been on our minds, and sink our awareness deep, deep within ourselves, knowing that as we become present to the truth of who we are, we rekindle that power. It may have been lying dormant through the winters of our lives, but it is just as powerful as it ever has been. It's just as unstoppable. It's just as inspiring, infinitely so. And as we create an internal environment of compassion, acceptance of all of who we are, gratitude, we know that the doorway, the portal to this deeper dimension swings wide open. We feel that welcoming energy. And so we allow that gratitude to warm our hearts and to move beyond the heart, throughout the body. Notice this sense of your aliveness as this healing vibration of gratitude invigorates every single cell. We are unique expressions of the One. Feel your uniqueness nested within the oneness, interconnected. And we let that gratitude expand even beyond the body as we create an energetic field of harmony. We send this forth to bless our planet. Every single one of us is here to be the one to make the difference in our world, whatever that may be, bringing the presence of peace and kindness and harmony into the world. And it is a mighty work. So as each one of us connects with our inspired self, listens for its guidance, and follows with commitment, excitement, vision, we help to make the world a better place. And for this truth, we are grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Rev Jane. Lots to think about there, lots to reflect on. And let us continue with our time of gathering.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place. I am the place where God lives. You are the place. Moves and breathes and has we are the place. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place. I am the place where God. You are the place.
Oh, one of my favorite songs. As always, our Unity Prayer Chaplains are available to you through email at praywithdiane@gmail.com. All of the prayer chaplains and members of the prayer team have received training in Unity's positive and affirmative way of praying, and they are pleased to pray with you if you have a prayer intention or you just want to share some joy and you'd like someone to share it with you. And after we pray with your request intention, uh, we will send it to Silent Unity for an additional 30 days of prayer. As always, thank you in advance for your financial gifts. This ministry is funded by the gifts of those who watch our videos and attend on our Sunday gatherings. And we are so grateful. And let us together bless these gifts. Divine love now flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and is a blessing wherever it goes. And as I said, thank you, thank you, thank you for your gifts of finances, for your gifts of prayer, for your gifts of joining with us. We're a fun group. Come and join us some Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. As always, we are a tithing community. Some of our tithe will go to Unity Canada, which is the organization that connects all of the Canadian ministries, and some of it will go to Eden Food for Change and all of the good work that they are doing. If you're watching us on social media and you've gotten this far, please join our newsletter so you can see what else is happening, what's coming up, and the link to join us on Sunday, as well as during the week. Next Sunday, we welcome back our other LUT, Debbie Long, and she's going to speak on when God steps in, miracles happen. So we will have a wonderful time with her. Also next week, a reminder that it will be our annual general meeting after the gathering. So please plan on staying on the call afterwards for updates on what's happening with us and where we're going for the next year. In the meantime, we are continuing our Lenten series. The LUTs in Canada have been leading this group, and it's Wednesdays from 2 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will be continuing our view and walk through In the Garden, which is the Lenten booklet for this year. The Canadian conference is coming up, and I'm excited. I've already booked my room and everything. I'm just about to book my flight, and it's becoming very real for me that I'm going to go and see my buds in person. For the very first time, I will be meeting some folks that I've been on Zoom with for years now. So we are thrilled that we are being able to do this again. And let's face it, Calgary, come on. So think about it. You can see the link here, unitycanada.org. You will find information on the homepage to lead you to the conference. Madam President, have I missed anything? I've got to take that as a no. All right, let us just take a moment and take into our minds and hearts the children of our lives, of our families, of our communities, of our cities, and of the world, knowing that there is a broad spectrum of what they're experiencing, and even greater spectrum of the gifts that they are bringing to this world, many of which haven't been unearthed yet because they are still learning, they are still growing. And we know that children are the blessing in our lives. And let us join together, children and youth of unity and of the world. We love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you just the way you are. And let us join together with our closing prayer. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. And as is our tradition, Sue K. Riley will sing us out.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. Yes, I do. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
thank you all for joining us live and in person and on social media. If you liked Reverend Jane, she will be back with us on Palm Sunday. So we're looking forward to welcoming her back. Have a wonderful week. We look forward to greeting you again. Blessings.